بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. First of all, I would like to apologize. We were having some technical difficulties, but inshallah I'll try to make the talk a little bit shorter than I normally do. And I want to start off with the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. That you who believe, fasting is prescribed for you as it was prescribed for those before you, so that you may attain taqwa. So over here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very explicitly and very clearly tells us that the purpose of the fast is so that we may attain taqwa, so that we may gain taqwa and draw near to Him Azza wa Jal. Fasting, as many of us know, if not all of us, there are many virtues that are associated with it. From them is the statement of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he says, when Ramadan comes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens up the doors of paradise and He closes the doors of the hellfire, and He chains the shayateen. So over here there are a number of things and a number of benefits for us to take away. The first of them is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens up the gates of paradise. And the reason that those gates are opened, as many of us have even experienced with ourselves, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us and gives us the opportunity and blesses this month. And because of that, we start doing more good deeds, right? It becomes something that's very apparent in all of us. We start doing a lot more good deeds than we're used to doing, a lot more good deeds than we have done in the past. And because of that, this necessitates for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open up the gates of paradise. We also see that if a person is doing more good deeds, then obviously they're doing less bad deeds. And when a person does less bad deeds, then this also necessitates the closing of the doors of the hellfire. And the last one, this is something that some scholars have said is a metaphor, and some of them have said that this actually happens, is that the shayateen are chained. So there are a few explanations of why the shayateen are chained. And if we look back at the previous reasons that we had mentioned, that if an individual increases in his good deeds, if he starts doing more good deeds, then he will stay away from bad deeds, and it becomes that much more difficult for the shayateen to speak to him, to whisper to him, to distract him, to cause him to do those bad things, to cause him to do those evil things. So we find that an individual, when he stays away from those things, when he stops doing those things, then it becomes that much more difficult for the shayateen to whisper to him, to talk to him. Some of the scholars have said that no, this actually means that the shayateen are physically chained up and it is impossible for them to reach the people. And some other scholars have said and taken a step further, saying that it is the major shayateen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also states, and this is narrated from our Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, where Allah Azza wa Jal says, every action that the son of Adam takes is for himself except for fasting. That I have taken for myself, and I will give a specific reward concerning it. The camera is really high. There is a specific reward concerning it. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that He gives a very specific reward, right? He gives a very specific reward for the one who is fasting versus the other deeds, right? So we have many narrations that talk about how when an individual prays, he gets 27 times more reward, or when an individual for example, when he gives sadaqah, or how his deeds are multiplied from 10 to 700 times. But we don't have anything like this for fasting. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has specified that for Himself. He has kept this for Himself, meaning that there is a reward that is so great, there is a reward that is so wonderful, that is not something that we can imagine. It is something that is beyond our scope and is beyond these calculations that we have available to us. The fasting is a restrainer, as comes in the hadith also, that an individual, when he fasts, he physically stops himself, or he restrains himself from doing bad deeds. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ goes on to say that if any one of you fasts, he should not indulge in indecent speech or unnecessarily raise his voice, even if he is cursed or fought. He should say, I am a fasting person, I am fasting. So over here I want to stop a little bit, and I want to talk a little bit about this issue, because I think this is something that is very important. The Prophet ﷺ said that an individual shouldn't curse, he shouldn't raise his voice, he shouldn't quarrel, right? He shouldn't do these things. Even though these things, if we actually sit down and think about it, we shouldn't be doing them anyway. So why is it that He sallallahu alayhi wasallam has further emphasized this in the fast? Because if we look at the fast, what are the things that we can't do, right? We can't eat, we can't drink, we can't be intimate, and for many of us we lose sleep because we're making qiyam al-layl and because we're praying. If you think about all of these things and you bundle them together, all it does is it makes a person more cranky, right? It makes him much more angrier. And when a person is cranky, when a person is upset, what happens? His tolerance for other people decreases significantly. And this is the test, right? This is the actual test on how we deal with other people. And we'll find during the month of Ramadan that this is when the fights in the masajid tend to increase, right? So people tend to fight more during Ramadan than they do outside of Ramadan. Even in many of our countries, or many of the countries in the East, you'll find that when it gets close to iftar time, people have complete disregard for those that are around them, just because they're in such a rush to break their fast and, to get home. But the question we need to ask ourselves is, okay, what gives me that right? What gives me that right? What gives me the right to actually overlook others? This fast that I'm doing, am I doing any favors for anyone? Is anybody's life getting better because of my fasting? Is this the effect that the fast is supposed to have on the Muslim? Is this the effect that the fast is supposed to have on the community? And this is something I don't think many of us think about. That this fasting is meant to be for me, right? It is my way to attain nearness and draw nearer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And from that is by denying myself these things, I will be angry and I will be upset, and I need to learn how to deal in that pressure. I need to learn how to deal in that situation. But how many of us actually take that as a lesson? Or how many of us allow us to get angry? How many of us allow ourselves to be more upset? How many of us have less tolerance for those that are around us, right? And this is something that's scary, that we just don't think about. We think that the Ramadan is just, staying away from eating, staying away from drinking, staying away from intimate during the daylight hours. Iftar time comes, we all make iftar together, and then we go to the masjid and we pray tarawih. This is not the entirety of Ramadan. That's just part of it. This is just part of the experience. This is only part of what is supposed to actually allow us to maintain and get taqwa. How many of us look forward to the fast? How many of us look forward to praying? And if we claim that we are looking forward to these things, why do they make us so upset? Why does they make us so angry? Why is it that they make us deal with people in a way that we feel we have more right now, or we're excused? We're excused. And this is really sad. The Prophet ﷺ, he's telling us very specifically to stay away from these things. And then he's saying to tell the other person, I'm fasting. But if you think about that statement in and of itself, you're not really telling anybody anything. This is a reminder for myself, right? Because the Prophet ﷺ has said that somebody who's already engaged in this, look at the hikmah, look at the wisdom behind it. The Prophet ﷺ is basically telling us, a person who is already engaged in this, who's already starting this, he needs to remind himself verbally, right? He actually needs to come out and he needs to say it, and he needs to tell himself that he's fasting. Because in the middle of a fight, if someone's fighting you and you're just telling him I'm fasting, it probably is not going to make him stop, right? The idea is to remind myself that I am in a state of fasting and I shouldn't be doing this. Does it mean that that quarrel was unfounded? Not necessarily. Does if somebody takes my right, I allow them to oppress me? No, absolutely not. That's not the purpose. And that this argument that we're having and this issue that we're having, we really need to realize and really, really need to look at, okay, what is the purpose? Why is it that I'm getting upset? Why is it that I'm getting angry? Because many times we'll get into a fight, we'll get into an argument, and it'll be the silliest, most pettiest thing. Even in our masjid, a few years ago, a brother always remind me of this fight, that there were two brothers that had over chai, like over tea, right? This is how short our fuses become. Can you imagine anybody fighting over tea, like in normal circumstances? Does that even sound, does that even make sense? And this shows us the mentality of the people. This shows us our mentalities during the month of Ramadan. And again, please, I want to remind myself, and I want to remind all of you that are listening out there, that this is something that's really important for us to keep in mind. That we do have relationships that are affected by our fast, and the fast should not be used as an excuse. The fast should be used as a means to draw nearer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there are a number of other things. There are a number of other hadith that talk about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made a special gate for those individuals who used to fast in this world, and the people will enter it, and how they won't have any thirst anymore. How deeds are multiplied for this person. This individual has moments of happiness, when he breaks his fast, when he meets his Lord. I can keep listing a hadith after hadith after hadith after hadith, and I'm sure many, if not all of you, are aware of them. But I just really wanted to drive this point home, that this fast is meant to make us better people. Are we becoming better people? Or do we think we're doing the world a favor by not eating or by not drinking? Or do we think now we understand the plight of the poor because we're not eating, we're not drinking? How many poor people do you know that know exactly the time that they're going to eat? Every single one of us knows exactly what time the fast is going to break and that the food will be available to us. How many poor people can say that? So while we can get some appreciation and some understanding, we can't understand their experience fully. In all of this, even that, it's part of helping us understand how to deal with each other, helping us understand how to deal with the poor. But how many of us take away that understanding? So there are a number of things that we can do this Ramadan in order to better ourselves through this fast. Look forward to the fast mentally. Get up, have suhoor, have something that will carry you through the rest of the day. Right, something that that won't make you so hungry that you're starving. Or for some people, it's a glass of water. Some people, they just need a few dates. Some people, they need an entire breakfast. Whatever it is that you need to get you through the day, do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Even the Prophet ﷺ said, "Inna fi suhoor barakah." That in suhoor there's barakah, there's blessing. So please make sure that all of you are taking it. Remember how important the fast is. Remember who we're doing it for. Remember, we're doing this fast for Allah. We're not doing it for ourselves. And we're not doing anybody any favors by doing it. We're doing this because we want to draw nearer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember that this is a blessed month. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has descended special blessings during this month, and we should take advantage of them. And remember the goal of the fast. Right? This is very paramount, something that's extremely important, which is taqwa, being aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Erase our past from sin, make a new start. Use Ramadan as a platform, as a guide, as a way to move forward and to better ourselves. We can use it as a means to make our scales heavier on the Day of Judgment. It is a way to actually weaken our desires, right, toward the worldly things. If I know I can stay away from these halal things now, I can stay away from these halal things when Ramadan ends also. Or we can really sit down and value those things and be like, what are these things really important in my life or not? So these are some things that I did want to mention. And I did want to say, please, this is an opportunity to control our emotions. We really need to control our emotions. I don't know how many of us are, and I know the month just started, and a lot of us have that initial zeal and that initial drive, and that's great. But keep it going. Keep it going. Keep pushing it. Keep benefiting from it. Try to stay functional. Try to do more things. Try to keep yourself busy. It's a great opportunity to start new good deeds. So things that you weren't doing before, if you weren't praying sunnah before, this is the month to start praying sunnah now. If you weren't reading daily Quran before, if you weren't spending time with Quran and reading translations, if you weren't learning about Islam, utilize this as an opportunity to start something. Use it as your springboard. And if you're doing something bad, use it as an opportunity to stop. Because I know there are brothers who smoke, for example, or sisters who don't take hijab, for example, or there are a lot of vices that all of us have and shortcomings that we have. Use this as an opportunity to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He might bless you in the decision that you make, and He might help you start doing something that you were doing wrong before, or stop you from doing something that you were doing bad before. So be proud of your religion. Be proud of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made you Muslim. Be proud of the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us all Islam, and be proud of the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed us to reach Ramadan and allowed us to benefit from it. وَأَقُولُ قَوْلِي هَذَا وَأَسْتَغْفِرُ اللَّهَ لِي وَلَكُمْ وَلِسَائِرِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ مِنْ كُلِّ ذَنبٍ خَطِيئَةٍ إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. And like we remind everyone, please remember to like, please remember to subscribe, and please remember to donate generously. Inshallah, I will see you all in the coming days via these online medium. So please take advantage of them. Take a look at our Facebook page, take a look at our YouTube page. We are constantly updating them with new programs, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us in this month. Ameen.